Beneath the deep blue waters off the Ryukyu Islands in Japan lies an unsolved mystery, the Yonaguni underwater structure. Discovered in 1986, this strange rock formation is stunning with its giant steps, corridors, stone pillars, and pyramid-like structures, all intricately carved as if they were created by human hands. Is this an ancient city submerged by the sea, the remains of a lost civilization, or simply a miracle of nature? To this day, Yonaguni remains a hotly debated topic among archaeologists, geologists, and historians around the world. The journey to explore Yonaguni is not only a journey to find historical truth, but also a dialogue between modern people and the forgotten past deep under the ocean. Do you want to explore more about the hypotheses surrounding this mysterious structure? Don't let the like button be lonely. Don't let the share button wither, and don't let the subscribe button wait for you forever. Part 1. Mysterious Origins. Yonaguni, the island where the world ends. Far to the southwest of the Okinawa archipelago, almost touching Taiwan, is a small but proud island called Yonaguni. On the map, it is just a tiny dot in the vast ocean. But for fishermen, divers, and dreamers, Yonaguni has always been a gateway to the strange, a place where the boundary between reality and legend seems blurred. The wind blows strongly. The waves crash relentlessly against the steep cliffs. Herds of small horses, survivors from ancient times, still roam the grasslands. Yonaguni has a wild, challenging, and isolated beauty. People call this place the island where the end of the world begins, not only because of its geographical location, the westernmost point of Japan, but also because of the strange atmosphere, as if the land and sky here have retained the most ancient memories of mankind. Few people expect that right under the deep blue water of Yonaguni, there's a secret that can change everything we know about the history of civilization. A chance discovery, the wave that awakens the mystery. In 1986, Kahachiro Aratake, an experienced diver and manager of a local diving club, decided to conduct a survey along the southern coast of Yonaguni. At that time, the hammerhead shark, which attracts international tourists, was gradually disappearing due to changes in the currents. Aratake wanted to find new diving spots to save the struggling tourism industry. One fateful afternoon, as the sun sank behind the purple-gray clouds, Aratake dove into the deep waters some 25 meters from shore. He had expected nothing but old coral reefs. But then, from the opaque water, a huge mass emerged, like a sleeping monster in the ocean. Aratake moved closer. What he saw made his heart pound. Giant steps, smooth planes, sharp right angles as if carved by a skilled hand. The structure was too large, too precise to be a random product of nature. "What is this?" Aratake asked in his diving suit, bubbles bursting around his head. He had discovered what the world would later call the Yonaguni undersea ruins. First images, clues from the deep. Upon his return, Aratake told his colleagues about his discovery. At first, many people were skeptical. An underwater structure? In Japan, a country with constant earthquakes and turbulent seas? But then, the first photos that Aratake brought back made the entire diving community curious. In the photos, people saw steps tens of meters long and blocks of stone stacked on top of each other like ancient walls. Some sections had straight grooves as if cut with a knife. In other areas, the rocks formed long, narrow corridors leading deep into the structure. Not only that, the rock surface was unusually smooth, as if it had been polished thousands of years ago. Some rocks even bore traces of incomprehensible symbols, although time had almost completely eroded them. The incident quickly spread. Scientists, divers, and reporters from all over the world flocked to Yonaguni. Each person came with burning questions in their minds. Are Yonaguni the ruins of a lost city? Is this evidence of a prehistoric civilization that existed before the rising seas engulfed it all? Or is it simply a strange joke of nature? No one has a definite answer. But everyone knows that from that moment on, Yonaguni became one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of mankind. Between reality and dreams, when history is challenged, The scene at the bottom of the sea at Yonaguni is unlike anything ever recorded in Japan, or even in the world. When divers explored, they discovered a giant step pyramid, nearly 27 meters high, hundreds of square meters wide. Long roads, sometimes straight as a ruler, sometimes softly curved like intentionally designed. Columns, pools resembling ceremonial swimming pools. Something resembling a stadium, a flat expanse, bordered by regular stone walls. The feeling of diving into this structure has been described as entering another world, silent, majestic, and strange. Each stone block, each path, seems to whisper a story forgotten millennia ago. Is this the ruin of an Eastern Atlantis? A civilization forgotten by the sea? Or simply, a reminder that we know only a tiny fraction of the history of the Earth? No one can say for sure, but clearly, Yonaguni has raised questions that have puzzled modern archaeology. A whisper from the ocean. Each wave that crashes against Yonaguni seems to be sending an ancient message. It seems that those silent rocks are patiently waiting for someone, an archaeologist, an explorer, or a dreamer, to hear their call. A call from a time when humans communicated with the stars, when land connected continents, when great civilizations rose and fell like monsoon winds. Is Yonaguni a silent witness to a lost era? Or is it simply a clever trick of nature, challenging the limits of our imagination? The journey to find the answer is still ongoing, and everyone, be they scientists or adventurers, carries a secret hope in their hearts that Yonaguni will reveal its greatest secret one day, when the time is right. Part 2. Strange Underwater Structures. A World Under Blue Water. When the first divers arrived at Yonaguni with specialized cameras and measuring equipment, they couldn't believe what they saw. Under the weak light filtering through the blue water, a giant stone structure appeared, looking like a sunken city deep under the sea. When viewed from above, the Yonaguni structure appears as a massive step pyramid. But as you dive closer, the small details begin to become clear. Regular steps, large stone platforms, long narrow corridors, and perfect right angles, all blending together strangely, deliberately. This can't be a coincidence. Giant stairs, stairway to another world. One of the most striking features of Yonaguni is its system of steps, meters wide, evenly spaced and stretching endlessly, like a path leading people down to the ocean floor. Standing on these steps, divers feel small in the face of the strange grandeur, as if they are walking on ancient steps leading to a submerged sacred temple. The stone steps are almost perfectly perpendicular to the ground, a feature that rarely occurs in natural erosion processes. Normally, waves and seawater create round, undulating shapes, not such rigid 90-degree angles. This raises a haunting question. Who, or what, built these giant steps? Smooth plains, traces of an artificial hand? As researchers continued to survey, they discovered that the plains of Yonaguni are almost completely smooth. There were no irregular indentations caused by the waves. Instead, the large stone slabs, some more than 10 meters long, appear to have been carefully cut and polished. Many of the slabs were stacked in regular layers, just like the construction techniques of ancient civilizations. In particular, in some areas, the slabs, several tons thick, appear to have been moved and placed precisely, something that is almost impossible for nature. Someone had intentionally arranged them, or at least had intervened in the formation process. Scary theories began to emerge. Could an ancient civilization have existed here and possessed construction technology far beyond what we thought? Could Yonaguni be the ruins of an ancient city that was submerged thousands of years ago? Long corridors and submerged streetways. One of the discoveries that archaeologists cannot explain is the existence of long, narrow corridors running through the Yonaguni rock complex. These corridors are evenly spaced, only a few meters wide, like the alleys in an ancient city. On both sides are vertical walls, several meters high. Some sections have turns, as if intentionally designed for travel. The narrow, winding corridors, hidden under the dark water, make people feel like they're lost in the ghostly streets of a city that has been forgotten since ancient times. Many divers who swim along these corridors recount an indescribable feeling of shivering, as if someone or something is still present somewhere in the layer of time-worn water. Stone pillars, pools, and stadiums. In addition to the stairs and corridors, Yonaguni also contains many other strange structures. Standing stone pillars. Some are 3 to 5 meters high, standing alone like the pillars of an ancient temple. Square water holes, flat bottoms, and vertical walls, like ceremonial pools. A large flat area. The explorers jokingly call it stadium. It has a vast floor surrounded by regular stone walls, as if it were used for large gatherings. All these features do not fit into the usual natural phenomena. They bear the shadow of intentional architecture, design, and clear purpose. But what is that purpose? Worship? Living? Or some mysterious ritual buried by time? Angles in defiance to nature. One of the strongest arguments in favor of Yonaguni being man-made is the presence of perfect right angles. Imagine a huge slab of stone over 10 meters long, with 2 sides cut straight at 90 degrees. The grooves are deep and parallel, as if they were carved with a tool. The angles between the floor and the walls are almost perfectly precise. Traditional geologists have tried to explain this phenomenon by suggesting that natural cracks caused by overlapping sedimentary rocks could have created this phenomenon. But even they have to admit that the scale and precision of Yonaguni far exceeds conventional geological examples. If this is nature, then nature is a great architect or a great deceiver. Carvings, faded signals. In 1996, Professor Masaaki Kimura, a famous geologist, led an international survey team to Yonaguni. During this survey, they announced that they had discovered many traces of artificial carvings on stone slabs. Geometric symbols, circles, straight lines, repeating patterns. Square indentations like locks to join stones, a technique similar to ancient structures around the world. Some models resemble human or animal figures, although they have been severely eroded. These traces further raise the hypothesis that Yonaguni is not a natural product, but the remains of human hands. However, because it has been submerged in deep water for many years and covered by seaweed, confirming these traces is very difficult. Kimura himself admitted, "We have only seen a very small part of Yonaguni." Yonaguni, a puzzle that challenges humanity. Standing in front of the giant steps, long corridors, flat stone platforms, and perfect right angles of Yonaguni, one cannot help but ask, if this is a man-made structure, who built it and when? If it was built before the sea level rise, more than 10,000 years ago, what other remains of that civilization have yet to be revealed? If this is just a natural product, then how could nature create such a complex and symmetrical structure? Yonaguni remains silent amid the undercurrents and ocean currents, but it seems to be patiently waiting for those brave enough to dive deeper, learn more, and accept the truth that could turn the entire history of mankind upside down. Part 3. Nature or Man? A never-ending debate. Since Yonaguni was discovered, a secret but fierce battle has raged among researchers. One side is convinced that Yonaguni is the remains of a long-forgotten ancient civilization. The other side insists that it is simply a strange but completely natural product of Mother Nature. Neither side is willing to give in. No one can provide definitive evidence. And to this day, Yonaguni remains suspended between two worlds, the world of known history and the world of things that have never been written. The proponents, an ancient city under the sea, Professor Masaaki Kimura, the pioneer. Professor Masaaki Kimura is the leader of the faction that believes Yonaguni is a man-made structure. He spent more than 15 years diving at Yonaguni, meticulously examining every rock, every crack, every tiny detail. In his speeches and publications, Kimura made a strong argument. Multi-tiered structure, similar to the step pyramids of Mesoamerica. Steps, corridors, and streets. Clearly planned, not randomly shaped. Right angles and smooth planes, highly precise, unlikely to be natural. Spotlight carvings and drawings, hints at human intent and culture. Kimura also pointed out that the sea level in the Yonaguni area has risen significantly since the end of the Ice Age, about 10,000 years ago. That means that if Yonaguni was ever above water, it was very ancient, even older than Egyptian civilization. Yonaguni is the Atlantis of the East, Kimura declared at a press conference in 1999, supporting evidence. In addition to the main structure, Kimura and his team found stone tools like hammerheads and axe blades, ritual remains, round and square stone pits, trace of canals, likely used for water or trade. Also near Yonaguni, there are faint traces of what appear to be walls, streets, and temples, stretching over an area of more than 10 square kilometers on the seabed. If this evidence is confirmed, Yonaguni would not be just a single structure, but a sunken city, something that could completely change humanity's understanding of ancient history. Skeptics, random masterpiece of nature? Robert Schoch, the opposing voice. Dr. Robert Schoch, a famous American geologist, is one of the strongest voices opposing Kimura's views. Schoch argues that the rock layers at Yonaguni are sedimentary sandstone, which is prone to natural fractures in the form of square blocks. The grooves, corridors, and steps are simply products of mechanical weathering, created by waves, currents, earthquakes, and time. The appearance of some right angles and flat surfaces is not too unusual, considering the characteristics of this type of rock. He emphasizes, nature can create things that look like artificial things. The opposite is not likely to happen. Arguments that strengthen the natural side. The skeptics also provide strong evidence. Other places in the world, such as Bimini Road, Bahamas, Giant's Causeway, Ireland, all have square rock structures but are completely natural. No fossils, human bones, or unmistakable artifacts have been found at Yonaguni. There is no archaeological evidence, such as pottery, weapons, or writing, elements usually associated with ancient civilizations. According to them, Yonaguni is just a beautiful coincidence, an art of nature. Unexplained mysteries. However, no matter how strong the skeptics' arguments, there are still mysteries that they cannot satisfactorily answer. Unusually high symmetry, many walls, steps, and square stones as if measured with tools. The presence of planning patterns, parallel corridors, large courtyards, three-way intersections, signs of mechanical intervention. Some pits have repetitive shapes and sizes, difficult to explain by weathering alone. Some independent researchers have suggested that Yonaguni may be a hybrid. Nature created the basic shape, but then ancient humans modified and improved it. This is an intriguing middle ground hypothesis, but it also makes things even more intriguing and difficult to solve. Unanswered questions. In the end, Yonaguni still hangs like a big question mark. If it is man-made, which civilization built it? If it is natural, why does Yonaguni have so many architectural features? If we rely only on the naked eye, are we being fooled by a cognitive illusion? And there is a deeper question. Who was Yonaguni really designed for? What creatures once walked on those steps? A mystery sealed by the ocean. Today, Yonaguni remains quietly hidden at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, far from prying eyes and unanswered questions. Waves still lap at the ancient stone slabs. Cold currents still sweep through the ancient corridors, as if the ocean itself were protecting a secret that humanity has never known. Willing to explore. Perhaps, one day, when technology is more advanced, or when irrefutable evidence is found, Yonaguni will speak up. For now, it waits quietly and continues to defy all reason. Part 4. Hypotheses about the origin of Yonaguni. When reason is powerless, imagination speaks up. In front of a giant, mysterious structure, buried deep in the ocean, strange hypotheses begin to bloom. Because when science cannot explain it, human imagination becomes a guiding light. In Yonaguni, in that mysterious light, suddenly becomes the focus of magnificent stories that go beyond the pages of recorded history. Hypothesis 1. Yonaguni, the ruins of Lemuria, the lost continent. Lemuria, the continent of legends. In myths and legends, Lemuria is described as a vast continent that once existed in the Indian Ocean or the Pacific Ocean, home to a superior civilization, far more advanced than Egypt or Sumer. According to legend, Lemuria sank into the sea tens of thousands of years ago in a terrible global catastrophe, either as punishment or as a result of massive geological upheavals. Many unorthodox scholars believe that Yonaguni is a remnant of Lemuria. Suspicious matches. Geographical location. Yonaguni is located in southwestern Japan, on the edge of the Pacific Ocean, the exact area mentioned in many legends. Geographical age. If Kimura is correct, and Yonaguni sank 10,000 years ago, it would coincide with the time when Lemuria is said to have disappeared. Extraordinary architecture. The steps, temples, canals evoke the image of a highly organized and technological civilization. Is Yonaguni the last tombstone of a civilization that humanity has forgotten? A spine-chilling question. Hypothesis 2. The ancient city of Mu, the legend of the Pacific. The legend of the continent of Mu. Some occult researchers mention Mu, another mythical continent, which is said to have once been located in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. According to James Churchward, an early 20th century British explorer, Mu was once home to a powerful civilization, well versed in both high technology and mystical spirituality. When Mu sank, the surviving tribes migrated to places like Egypt, Central America, and East Asia, taking with them the knowledge of the lost civilization. Yonaguni, the first physical evidence? If Mu really existed, then Yonaguni could have been a gateway that once led to a glorious underwater metropolis, a transit station for ancient traders, or even a ceremonial center where mysterious rituals related to metaphysical powers took place. In the sharp lines of Yonaguni, could there be hidden, distant memories of the continent of Mu? A prospect that makes anyone who hears it shudder. Hypothesis 3. The work of a super prehistoric civilization. Before Sumer and Egypt, we usually think that the history of civilization began about 5,000 to 6,000 years ago with the formation of cultures such as Sumer, Egypt, or Indus. But if Yonaguni is dated to about 10,000 years ago, it could prove that a super civilization existed before everything we know. They built massive stone structures that could withstand the test of time and nature. They disappeared, leaving behind fragile traces that can only be seen in the depths of water. This means the entire history of humanity will need to be rewritten. Doubts raise this hypothesis. Structures such as Göbekli Tepe, Turkey, built 11,000 years ago, have proven that humans were capable of building complex architecture very early. Global legends about a great flood in the Bible, the Gilgamesh epic Hindu mythology, suggest that there was a disaster that submerged ancient civilizations. If so, maybe Yonaguni is a remnant, a witness to an era that we only know about through myths. Hypothesis 4. Yonaguni and the extraterrestrial footprint? A bold hypothesis. Some researchers of the Paleonaut school pose a breathtaking question. Could Yonaguni be the legacy of extraterrestrial beings who visited Earth? Based on extremely high geometric precision, massive stone structures, no signs of primitive metal tools. Ancient Japanese legends also include stories of sea angels, creatures that fell from the sky. Shocking details. Some of the stones at Yonaguni have straight, narrow grooves, as if cut by laser technology or advanced mechanics. The positions and angles of the structures may be related to astronomical phenomena, such as the sunrise on specific days of the year. Some of the obscure carvings, according to Kimura, do not resemble any known ancient art style. Could it be that someone or something built Yonaguni as a research station, an ancient airfield, or a marker for those who came from the stars? The idea is horrifying, yet fascinating. Yonaguni, the key to unlocking the secret doors? Each hypothesis about Yonaguni is like a road lost in the fog. It may lead to the greatest discoveries in human history, or it may just be beautiful but hopeless dreams. But one thing is certain. Yonaguni has planted in the human mind an ineradicable seed. The seed of curiosity, of the desire to overcome known limits, to reach the impossible. Part 5. The Silence of the Ocean. Why is Yonaguni still a mystery? Yonaguni, the silent city at the bottom. Amidst the fierce waves of the Pacific Ocean, under dozens of meters of cold water, Yonaguni lies there. Motionless, silent, waiting, not a single call, not a single sign of life. Only stone steps, long corridors disappearing into the endless darkness, leading straight to the heart of a secret that has been sealed since the beginning of time. And the question echoes in the minds of those who dare to dive to the bottom. Why, until today, have humans still not deciphered Yonaguni? Seemingly insurmountable barriers. 1. Harsh pressure of the natural environment. Yonaguni is not an ordinary archaeological site. Strong currents. The powerful whirlpools under Yonaguni have terrified even the most experienced divers. Many expedition teams have had to abort their missions because they were swept away out of control. Poor visibility. Waves of sand from the seabed constantly cover the structures, making Yonaguni look like a ghost town that changes shape constantly under the dim light. Dangerous depths. The deepest parts of Yonaguni are around 30 meters deep, far beyond the reach of normal free diving, and pose a risk of decompression sickness for divers. Just getting to Yonaguni is a life or death challenge. 2. Fierce debate among scientists. A strange paradox. The more researchers there are, the more disagreement there is. Professor Masaki Kimura claims Yonaguni is a man-made structure, but many opposing geologists, such as Robert Schoch, say it is a natural phenomenon. Archaeological evidence, such as tools, human bones, relics, are almost non-existent, making the proof of civilization ambiguous. Governments, including Japan, do not really promote the excavation or official research of Yonaguni. A strange silence, as if something does not want to be awakened. Because of these endless debates, Yonaguni is forever stuck in the gray area between science and legend. 3. The ocean, the greatest protector. The sea, with its thousand-year-old power, not only covers Yonaguni with water and sand, but also with time. Erosion. The rocks are constantly eroded by seawater, causing small details to gradually fade away, making it difficult to distinguish between man-made and natural. Burial. Thick layers of sediment cling to the structures, like an eternal curtain hiding the truth. Hidden. The deep sea is a vast treasure trove, where thousands of ancient relics may lie dormant under the cold mud, and Yonaguni is just one of them. To reach the truth, humans must defeat Mother Nature herself, a fierce battle that has no end. Small mysteries breed big doubts. During their explorations of Yonaguni, divers and researchers have recorded a series of strange phenomena. Giant doors leading into bottomless darkness, but when entering, there seems to be no end. Strange stone altars, as if erected for some ritual, but no one knows what they are for and by whom. Paths too narrow or too steep, unsuitable for modern human life, suggesting that if this is man-made architecture, its owner may be very different from us. Each of these details, like pieces of a puzzle, only adds to the picture's vagueness, the hidden hypotheses that have never been made public. In behind-the-scenes conversations among researchers, in reports that have never been published, chilling hypotheses are sometimes revealed. Yonaguni is a gateway, a connection point between our world and the other world, where time and space operate differently. Yonaguni is a repository of knowledge. Ancient secrets about the origins of humanity have been encoded and buried deep underwater. Yonaguni is a relic of alien intervention, a research station or communication station abandoned tens of thousands of years ago. No one dares to publicly announce these hypotheses, but they whisper through the corridors of academia, in private meetings, like ghosts of the imagination. Yonaguni, secret waiting to be awakened? In the quiet moments between the cold waters, when the diving lights shine on the giant rocks, you can feel it. An invisible presence, an ancient memory still echoing. Yonaguni is more than just an archaeological site. Yonaguni is a living question, challenging the wisdom, courage, and patience of humanity. Will these silent stone walls one day, in the near or distant future, reveal the secrets they have kept hidden for millennia? Or will they remain forever in darkness, a reminder of things that humans are not yet ready to know? Chapter 6, the Yonaguni Exploration, Expeditions that Changed History, Moments of Touching the Impossible. Starting in the 1980s, some local divers, who were simply searching for fat tuna around Yonaguni Island, stumbled upon giant rocks stacked on top of each other in a way that was too perfect. At first, they thought it was just a strange natural phenomenon. But then, with each beat of the waves and the light, the shapes began to appear. Giant steps, vertical walls, square stone columns that seemed to have been part of a forgotten ancient city. And so, the greatest adventure at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean began. Professor Masaaki Kimura, the pioneer of going against the current. In 1986, when he received news of this strange discovery, geology professor Masaaki Kimura of the University of the Ryukyus could not believe his ears. He decided to go down into the water himself. When he first encountered Yonaguni, Kimura's feeling was not skepticism, but amazement, because what he saw could not have been created by nature. The steps all had perfect right angles that the laser measuring machine confirmed with almost zero error. The stairs led to flat terraces, like the lobby of a large building. Some moats surrounding the architecture resembled defensive motifs in ancient citadels. Kimura decided to risk his career. He publicly declared, "Yonaguni is not a natural phenomenon. It is the remains of a lost, prehistoric civilization." That statement immediately caused a storm in the international archaeological community. Expeditions that shook the world. Not only Kimura, a series of professional divers, explorers, and archaeologists from Japan, the US, and Europe began to flock to Yonaguni. Each trip brought back chilling discoveries. 1. The 1997 expedition, the Gate of No Return. A group of scientists led by Kimura dived into an area called the Entrance, where there was a giant arch-like structure. Passing through the gate, the team discovered a nearly 20-meter-long underground corridor, flanked by vertical walls. At the end, the corridor abruptly ended in a sealed wall. There was no way out. Small spiral-shaped carvings appeared on the surface of the rock, a symbol never recorded in the history of Japanese civilization. The trip almost ended in disaster when a diver became disoriented and ran out of oxygen in the corridor, as if Yonaguni did not want anyone to go deeper into its heart. 2. 2001 expedition, the Sunken Pyramid. An international team of archaeologists, working with a camera crew, dived to the center of Yonaguni. There they discovered a giant stone block about 25 meters high, in the shape of a step pyramid. The steps all led up to a flat top, about 10 square meters wide. At the top, they found traces of 2 round stone pillars that had been broken in half, as if they had once erected some sacred structure. No one dared to confirm, but in their hearts, the obsession was kindled. Yonaguni could be an ancient ceremonial center deep in oblivion. 3. The 2007 expedition, the giant statue. During a survey using 3D sonar technology, researchers discovered an unusual shape, a stone block about 7 meters high, simulating a person meditating. The lines of the face and arm were eroded by time, but still enough to evoke the feeling, as if someone was observing from the bottom of the ocean. The strange feeling enveloped the whole group. One explorer whispered, "Maybe we have reached the limit of what humans should explore." The returns and unanswered questions. After each expedition, Yonaguni did not become clearer. On the contrary, it only becomes more mysterious. Why are the structures located more than 25 meters below the current water surface? Were they built before the Ice Age, more than 10,000 years ago? Who built them, and how? When according to official history, the ancestors of the Japanese people at that time were only primitive hunter-gatherer tribes. Did a civilization rise and perish, leaving traces on Yonaguni, a civilization that official history completely ignores? These questions, like ghosts, still haunt researchers every time they look up at the vast ocean. Yonaguni, the end of the mystery. The journey to explore Yonaguni is not just a physical journey to the bottom. It is also a journey that challenges human faith, knowledge, and courage. Because sometimes the answers can be too terrifying for us to face. And the ocean, somehow, silently holds those secrets until humanity is truly mature enough to understand. Chapter 7, Strange Evidence. Is Yonaguni connected to the lost continent of Atlantis? When one mystery calls another mystery. From the first time archaeologists saw aerial photographs of Yonaguni, they could not help but be amazed. The straightness, squareness, and deliberate arrangement of the stone blocks evoked the image of a civilization that had reached a level of architecture and engineering far beyond what history had recorded. Immediately, in the minds of many researchers, a name echoed. Atlantis, the legendary continent that sank deep into the ocean. Could it be that Yonaguni is a remnant of that lost civilization? Atlantis, the dream buried under the sea. According to the notes of the Greek philosopher Plato, Atlantis was once a giant continent, a place where a powerful, rich, and highly advanced civilization existed. But due to greed and arrogance, Atlantis angered the gods. In one disastrous day and night, the entire continent sank into the sea, disappearing from the world forever. For thousands of years, Atlantis remained a legend, a fairy tale embellished by human imagination. But then, Yonaguni appeared. The creepy similarities between Yonaguni and Atlantis. Researchers were quick to point out the strange similarities. 1. Size and complexity. Yonaguni was hundreds of square meters, with areas like plazas, staircases, altars, and canals. Atlantis, according to Plato, was also described as a city with complex architecture, with streets, temples, and sophisticated water systems. 2. Geographical location. Atlantis is described as being located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, that is, outside the Strait of Gibraltar. But many modern theories suggest that Atlantis may have been scattered or dispersed after a disaster. Yonaguni is located at the crossroads of major Pacific currents, a perfect location for a thriving trade and development civilization. 3. Sudden disappearance. Studies show that the Yonaguni area was flooded about 10,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age, a time when global sea levels rose dramatically. According to many analyses, the time of Atlantis' disappearance also coincides, about 9,000 to 11,000 years ago, according to Plato's chronology. 4. Unnatural architecture. From the evenly spaced steps, straight corridors, to the artificially shaped stone tablets. Everything at Yonaguni evokes a hand of creation. Like Atlantis, it is described as having temples and palaces built with extremely advanced construction techniques. Prominent hypotheses. Hypothesis 1. Yonaguni is a fragment of Atlantis that drifted away. Some researchers believe that when Atlantis sank, the continental fragments broke off and drifted along global ocean currents. And Yonaguni was one of those fragments, stranded in the Sea of Japan. Hypothesis 2. Atlantis is the Western name for global civilizations. Some other hypotheses suggest that Atlantis is not actually a single location, but a symbolic name for many ancient civilizations that perished when a global catastrophe occurred. Accordingly, Yonaguni may represent an Eastern Atlantis, a brilliant civilization that shared the same fate as Atlantis. Controversial evidence. Despite many similarities, scientists remain cautious. Some dissenting voices argue that the Yonaguni structures may have formed due to natural geological phenomena, such as stratigraphy, weathering, and erosion of the sandstone in a blocky fashion. No clear traces of writing, tools, or man-made artifact have been excavated on site so far. However, it must also be emphasized that the underwater preservation conditions are extremely harsh. If Yonaguni did indeed sink 10,000 years ago, most of the physical evidence, ceramics, metals, would have eroded or disintegrated. Many architectural details, such as perfect right angles, water channels, archways, still defy any explanation based on nature alone. If Yonaguni is Atlantis, must we rewrite history? If the Yonaguni Atlantis hypothesis is correct, the entire basis of our understanding of human history will collapse. Advanced civilizations existed tens of thousands of years ago, thousands of years earlier than the civilizations of Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt. Knowledge of engineering, construction, navigation, mathematics, astronomy reached its peak and was then forgotten. Myths from Greece, Japan, South America about sunken cities, people from the sea, may all be based on the faint memory of a real civilization. We, modern humans, turn out to be just misfits, trying to piece together the fragments of a great universe that has disappeared. Yonaguni, the threshold to Atlantis? Imagine, could it be that beneath those mossy rocks, there are hidden stories beyond our wildest dreams? An ancient map carved in stone, leading to lost lands? An ancient library, a place where knowledge is kept forgotten memories? Or the remains of a civilization that once touched the secrets of the universe? If Yonaguni is indeed a piece of Atlantis, then the search for the legendary Atlantis is no longer a dream. It is waiting just beneath those deep blue waters. Chapter 8. New research. The truth is slowly revealed, entering the ocean, and the secrets never revealed. The surface of the Yonaguni Sea is deep blue and peaceful, but beneath it lies a magnificent world that humanity has only just begun to explore. And over the past 2 decades, many pioneering research teams have plunged into the icy waters, determined to find the truth. What they brought back astonished the world. Pioneering Expedition Team, Masaaki Kimura and the decade-long journey. Japanese geologist, Professor Masaaki Kimura, was the first name to bring Yonaguni to light. He not only dived to Yonaguni hundreds of times, but also used sonar to scan the terrain in detail, measured each structure carefully, analyzed rock samples on the spot. Kimura's conclusion is extremely bold. The Yonaguni structure has steps, roads, stairs, and altars built by humans more than 10,000 years ago. Not only that, Kimura also discovered stone statues shaped like turtles, birds, and giant human faces, walls hundreds of meters long, possibly the ruins of an ancient sunken city. What puzzles academics the most? There is no reasonable natural geological explanation for the perfect straightness and angles of these structures. International studies, challenging skepticism. It's not just the Japanese. Many archaeologists, geologists, and divers from the US, UK, Canada, Italy, etc. also joined the search for the mystery under Yonaguni. What they discovered further added to the mystery. 1. Man-made tunnels? The Italian expedition, led by archaeologist Roberto Riccezzi, claimed narrow, winding passages were found, like tunnels, cut through the rock. Some of the passages appeared to have been hand-hewn. Smooth surfaces, perfectly square corners. Riccezzi described the feeling of entering the tunnels for the first time. I had the feeling of walking through the ancient corridors of a sunken temple. The feeling was breathtaking and indescribable. 2. Traces of ancient tools? Some of the rock samples taken from Yonaguni showed flat cuts through the hard rock. Researchers suspect these are signs of the use of extremely sharp metal or stone tools. If so, this would suggest a civilization with manufacturing techniques far more advanced than the crude stonework we attribute to prehistoric people. 3. Underwater statues? Some divers have also reported busts that appear to be human figures, although they are covered in moss. Large stone platforms that look like altars or places of worship. Some of the rocks even have strange symbols carved into them, possibly ancient writing or religious symbols. Unanswered questions. While the new research has yielded some surprising facts, it has also raised a host of more puzzling questions. Who built Yonaguni? What civilization were they? How did they disappear? What connection does it have to the legends of Atlantis or other lost continents? And the most important question, how many other structures are hidden beneath the vast ocean? Obstacles to studying Yonaguni. However, exploring Yonaguni is not easy. Deep water environment, strong currents, low visibility pose a danger to divers. Seaweed, coral, and marine animals constantly cover up important details. The use of modern underwater survey equipment is limited due to high costs. And most importantly, divisions in academia have caused many research projects to be delayed or underfunded, like at the end of the stone corridor. However, the resilient explorers do not give up. In recent years, with modern technology, such as underwater drones, ROVs, capable of filming HD underwater LiDAR scanners, allowing for detailed 3D modeling of the seafloor, analysis of nanosamples to determine the origin and age of the rocks. Yonaguni is gradually revealed bit by bit, detail by detail. The dim steps, the roads buried deep in sediment, the broken statues all combine to tell a story bigger than anyone could have imagined. The end or the beginning? Will Yonaguni prove that? Humans once held great secrets and then lost them? Human history is much more complex than we know. Or did Atlantis, Mu, Lemuria really exist? And Yonaguni is just the starting point for the journey to discover a deeply buried past? One thing is certain. We have only taken the first steps on the path to the truth. The ocean still has secrets that it does not want to reveal. But Yonaguni, that silent structure, is whispering to us to move forward. Chapter 9. New Mysteries from Yonaguni. The Sealed Room? A strange discovery, the underwater room. The deeper researchers go into the ocean, the more they expand the already known mysteries. In 2019, a group of Japanese divers, led by Ryoji Nato, made a discovery that shocked the world of archaeologists and underwater archaeology enthusiasts. During a survey around the Yonaguni construction area, the team accidentally discovered an underwater room, completely different from previous structures. This room is perfectly rectangular with solid, neat stone walls, with almost no signs of natural erosion. The strange thing is the stone doors are square in shape, unlike anything nature can create. One of the doors was blocked by a large rock, as if some force had deliberately sealed it. When looking through the sonar system and underwater camera, the research team discovered that there were structures inside that room. However, the difficulty of access and the environment that did not allow for further investigation made this discovery even more mysterious. Could this be an ancient shrine room? Researchers could not help but think of it as an ancient shrine or temple, a place to keep sacred items of a lost civilization. Many believe that the room could contain sacred objects, precious artifacts, or even prehistoric rituals to worship gods. A popular hypothesis is that this room could have been a place to keep the memories of an ancient civilization, a place where the secrets of the world were protected and sealed for thousands of years. The large stones blocking the entrance may be a sign that the room has never been opened since the collapse of the civilization. These stones, with their perfect square shape, seem to have been placed intentionally, not by natural forces. Mysterious theories surrounding the room. Hypothesis 1. The room is a repository of ancient knowledge. There's a fascinating theory that this room is a repository of knowledge of a civilization that knew how to grasp the secrets of nature and could communicate with the universe. The stone walls may be engraved with characters, symbols, or maps of the universe that no one can understand. Researchers have suggested that if these characters really exist, it will be a turning point in the understanding of ancient civilizations and the development of mankind. 1.1. Is it some kind of ancient library? Another theory is that the chamber could be a kind of ancient library, where inscriptions, books, or records of the great events of the Yonaguni civilization are carefully preserved. These inscriptions could be the key to unlocking unknown mysteries, from from the existence of sunken continents to the advanced technologies that this civilization achieved. Modern researchers have dreamed of an underwater library where knowledge about the universe, planets, and life is still intact. Difficulties in accessing the chamber. To be able to decipher this mysterious chamber, archaeologists and divers face many extremely great challenges. Great depth and strong currents. Yonaguni is located at a depth that does not allow easy access. Strong currents can make survey work extremely dangerous. Survey techniques are not advanced enough. Although modern sonar and diving equipment have helped to detect the chamber, clarifying the details inside requires more sophisticated scanning and analysis technology. Conservation and protection conditions. The chamber could be an extremely valuable relic. The Japanese government must also consider whether to open it for exploration. Predicting future discoveries. Despite its difficulty in accessing it, more and more research groups are committed to continuing to explore Yonaguni. With the development of technology, especially in the field of 3D scanning and underwater analysis, the possibility of a breakthrough discovery in the coming years is very high. Archaeologists and explorers hope that one day, the stone gates will be opened, allowing 21st century people to see the ancient secrets buried in the deep sea. Will artifacts, cosmological maps, or even traces of Atlantis emerge, giving us answers to unanswered questions? A strange perspective, the unfinished story. This sealed chamber may be just the beginning of an unexpected journey. If further discoveries confirm the hypotheses, we will be faced with a new reality. The humans are not the only species with early cosmic knowledge. Forgotten civilizations may have achieved things that we are only beginning to rediscover. And in the darkness of Yonaguni, as the camera's light shines on the stone walls, as the explorers patiently, as we excavate layer upon layer of sediment from the seabed, the story of the lost civilization is becoming clearer. Chapter 10. Yonaguni and the connection to other ancient civilizations. Traces through time. With each new discovery at Yonaguni, questions continue to arise. More than just an underwater structure, Yonaguni could be a link between ancient civilizations, a lost map of humanity's distant past. The core question, is Yonaguni really the remains of a great civilization? And what connection does that civilization have to mysterious stories from around the world? For centuries, people have heard rumors about the continent of Atlantis, about countless lost civilizations. But could Yonaguni be an important piece in the story of those civilizations? The connection to Atlantis, the lost civilization. Almost every hypothesis about Yonaguni begins with a big question. Is Yonaguni the remains of Atlantis? 1.1. Evidence of the Atlantis civilization. According to the classical descriptions of Plato, a Greek philosopher, Atlantis was a powerful and advanced civilization that fell due to excessive prosperity and decadence. Plato described Atlantis as a large island with magnificent architecture, strong stone walls, and underwater structures, almost identical to what we see at Yonaguni. The solid structure, evenly stacked walls, and square stone foundations at Yonaguni may remind people of ancient evidence of a great civilization that sank under the ocean, although it cannot be confirmed. These similarities have led many to believe that Yonaguni may be the remains of a lost part of Atlantis. Links to other ancient civilizations. But it is not just Atlantis. Yonaguni may have had connections to other ancient civilizations as well. The traces of large and detailed stone structures that we see at Yonaguni may be reminiscent of many other ancient sites around the world. 2.1. Egyptian pyramids. Architectural similarities. One of the most influential civilizations for researchers is ancient Egypt, with its great pyramids and monumental architecture. Some have suggested that there is a link between the construction of pyramids and the structures under the sea at Yonaguni, especially the stone steps and pyramid-shaped structures discovered in this area. This opens up the hypothesis of an ancient civilization network, which may have shared knowledge and technology across the oceans. If Yonaguni was indeed part of an ancient civilization, It is possible that they developed extremely advanced stone construction technologies that we do not yet fully understand. 2.2. Sumerian civilization, stone building techniques. The ancient Sumerian civilization also has interesting connections to Yonaguni. Researchers have noticed similarities between the stone structures of Yonaguni and the temples of Sumer. The stones of Yonaguni are square in shape and arranged in large steps, very similar to the Sumerian ziggurats, the famous step-shaped temples. Some experts believe that Sumer may have shared its knowledge of building with other civilizations, including Yonaguni. Was there a cultural exchange across continents in the past, where undiscovered civilizations exchanged knowledge and developed unique stone building techniques? Archaeological evidence and folklore. In addition to modern research, folklore from around the world also adds to the mystery of the Yonaguni story. The Japanese have legends about lost islands where ancient civilizations sank into the ocean in terrible disasters. Could this legend be an allusion to Yonaguni, a civilization that existed long ago but was later buried by the sea? Historians have also found similarities between the images and the legends of many civilizations such as the ancient Greeks, Egyptians, and even the Mayans. Ancient civilizations also spoke of underwater cities and sunken kingdoms, whose traces we can now find in Yonaguni. Comparison between civilizations and conclusions. After examining archaeological evidence, architectural traces, and folk legends, some scholars have hypothesized that Yonaguni may have been a meeting point between ancient civilizations that once had exchanges and shared knowledge. The stone structures at Yonaguni may be the product of a sunken civilization, with similarities to other major civilizations, such as Egypt or Sumer. However, to reach a final conclusion, researchers need to continue excavating and using modern technology to decipher the mysteries of Yonaguni. Conclusion: the endless questions. The story of Yonaguni and its connection to other ancient civilizations continues to be one of the most controversial topics in archaeology. Was Yonaguni really part of the Atlantis civilization, or is it a remnant of another civilization? The only thing we can be certain of is that evidence of an ancient civilization is still buried beneath the sea, and the story of Yonaguni is just beginning. Chapter 11: Yonaguni and New Scientific Experiments. What can technology do for us? Modern archaeological technology, the undersea revolution. Since Yonaguni was discovered in the 1980s, research on the site has faced numerous challenges. But modern science and technology are providing new opportunities to help us better understand this underwater monument. Over the years, archaeologists, divers, and scientists have used a variety of advanced technologies to explore and analyze Yonaguni. Today's experiments and research have revealed important details, opening up new questions about the history and origins of this underwater structure. 1. Sonar and 3D scanning breakthroughs. One of the most important advances in the discovery of Yonaguni has been sonar and 3D scanning technology. These technologies have changed the way we survey and understand underwater structures. 1.1. Multi-beam sonar. Multi-beam sonar is a modern technology that allows researchers to scan and create detailed images of the seafloor without having to dive. It uses sound waves to map underwater structures and detect objects, rocks, or structures that appear to be man-made. In recent surveys, multi-beam sonar has helped to uncover previously unknown signs in the Yonaguni area, including strange geometric structures that were previously unidentifiable. This has fueled a theory that the area may not be a work of nature, but a man-made structure. 1.2. 3D scanning and digital modeling. By combining sonar with 3D scanning systems and digital modeling, scientists can create detailed maps of the structures on the seafloor. This system helps to reconstruct the overall picture of Yonaguni more accurately than ever before. With this technology, researchers can analyze the shape, size, and location of each structure, helping them draw clearer conclusions about the construction principles, functions, and purposes of these structures. This is an important step in determining whether Yonaguni is an ancient civilization. 2. Geological analysis. the challenge between nature and man. In addition to sonar technology and 3D scanning, geological analysis is an important part of determining the origin of the structures at Yonaguni. Are these structures natural or man-made? 2.1. Erosion and age studies. Geologists have studied the erosion and rock formation processes in the Yonaguni area to better understand the development of these structures. According to studies, the rocks at Yonaguni appear to have been affected by natural processes over thousands of years, with cracks and erosion showing the impact of ocean waves. However, what has puzzled researchers is the perfect symmetry of some of the structures at Yonaguni, especially the stone steps. These steps have very sharp edges, something that nature rarely produces. This has raised the question of whether humans may have intervened to create these structures. 2.2. Analyzing rock samples and determining the age of the rocks. One of the next important steps in the research process is to analyze rock samples at Yonaguni to determine the exact age of these structures. Dating the rocks will provide an important clue as to when the structure may have been built. Many scientists believe that this technology can help determine when Yonaguni was built and whether it is related to other ancient civilizations, such as the Egyptians or Sumerians. If the structures are indeed thousands of years old, we may be witnessing traces of a forgotten civilization. 3. Biological sciences, strange biological traces. A rather unique aspect of recent research is biological sciences, the study of living organisms and biological traces that can be found in the Yonaguni area. 3.1. Exploring marine life around Yonaguni. While exploring the seabed, marine biologists have discovered many strange species living near these rock structures. These organisms may have a special relationship with the structures on the seabed. Biological experiments are being conducted to find out whether these organisms influence the formation of the rock structures, or whether there may be some connection between the organisms and the structures. Some unique marine organisms, such as corals and finfish, have been found living in crevices and cliffs. This raises the question, were these structures built near special marine ecosystems, or were these organisms part of the process that created the structures? 4. Future habitats. Explore and protect. With the advancement of technology, we are facing an unprecedented opportunity to explore and protect underwater monuments. However, preserving Yonaguni requires collaboration between scientists, governments, and the international community. In the future, new technologies such as autonomous diving robots and space scanning could help explore previously unexplored areas while protecting the monument from vandalism. These technologies will not only provide a deeper understanding of Yonaguni, but also help us better understand the planet's past and the development of human civilization. Conclusion: science opens new doors. Today's technology is helping us open new doors to explore Yonaguni, one of the most mysterious underwater mysteries. Although many questions remain unanswered, advances in archaeology, geology, and biology could revolutionize our understanding of human history. Yonaguni continues to be a fascinating destination for those who are passionate about exploring unsolved mysteries. Technology and science will be the key to helping us better understand this monument and its magical mysteries. Chapter 12. Is Yonaguni and the end of the story, or just the beginning? Unanswered questions. After thousands of years submerged at the bottom of the sea, Yonaguni has become a symbol not only of natural mysteries, but also of human curiosity. Although science has advanced by leaps and bounds, and modern technology has allowed us to see more than ever before, Yonaguni still leaves many questions that we cannot answer. Is this structure the product of a forgotten ancient civilization? Or is it just a miraculous combination of nature? We will never be able to be completely sure, but one thing is clear. The story of Yonaguni is not over. 1. The story continues to expand. 1.1. Changing human perceptions. Contrary to initial skepticism, today a large community of scientists, archaeologists, and historians have begun to accept that Yonaguni may have been part of an ancient civilization. This not only changes the way we view Yonaguni, but also expands the scope of research into ancient civilizations that we have yet to fully explore. 1.2. Ongoing and relentless research. Research is ongoing, with new marine surveys, deep-sea expeditions, and the use of advanced technology such as AI and 3D scanning to analyze previously undiscovered details. The more research is done, the more likely it is that Yonaguni may indeed be one of the great ancient structures. In fact, many researchers are gradually moving from skepticism to belief in the hypothesis that this is a structure created by humans long ago. This raises the question, how many more structures like this are waiting to be discovered? 2. Yonaguni, the untold story. 2.1. A work of nature or a man-made structure? The biggest question remains, is Yonaguni a work of nature or a man-made structure? Most researchers agree that the rock structures at Yonaguni cannot be entirely natural. However, some still believe that the strange features of the area may have been created by natural phenomena, such as ocean waves, erosion, and geological activity. However, those who believe that Yonaguni is a man-made structure point out that the perfect symmetry, precise dimensions, and intricate architectural details could not have been formed by chance. There must be some as yet unknown scientific reason behind these structures. 2.2. The age problem. Are we looking the wrong direction? One of the most controversial issues is the age of Yonaguni. To date, there is no definitive way to determine exactly when these structures were built, making any hypothesis difficult to prove. Some suggest that Yonaguni may have been built thousands of years ago, while others believe that they were formed only recently due to natural events. Could we be looking in the wrong direction when it comes to age? Could Yonaguni not be a single structure, but part of a larger system that we do not yet know about? These questions will only be answered as technology and research methods improve. 3. Deciphering the undiscovered traces. 3.1. Potential discoveries from the deep. Although archaeologists have discovered many suspicious details from the Yonaguni area, this is just the beginning. There are many traces that have not been found in remote areas of the seabed. Unconfirmed structures and strange objects may still lie beneath the sand and limestone. Will divers and archaeologists be able to excavate these mysterious traces in the future? Perhaps in the coming years, modern diving equipment and archaeological robots will bring unprecedented discoveries. 3.2. Other mysterious structures in the world. Another interesting aspect is the connection between Yonaguni and other strange monuments in the world, such as Puma Punku in Bolivia, the pyramids of Egypt, or Machu Picchu in Peru. These monuments may contain evidence of a larger civilization that humans cannot fully understand. Comparing these sites may help to create a clearer picture of a lost history. Yonaguni may be just one piece of a larger archaeological puzzle where ancient civilizations interacted and influenced each other. 4. Yonaguni and the future of archaeology. 4.1. Further discoveries. With the continued advancement of technology, the future of archaeology at Yonaguni is very promising. We may see advanced archaeological experiments that will help us answer the question of whether this was the work of an ancient civilization. Further surveys, with the support of data analysis technology, may bring about shocking discoveries about this relic. 4.2. The story continues. In any case, the story of Yonaguni is never over. It is an open story, a never-ending journey, where science, archaeology, and history will continue to uncover mysteries. Each new discovery will open up other possibilities, and Yonaguni will remain a bright star in the sky of human research. Conclusion: only the beginning. Yonaguni may be a story that has not been fully told, or a chapter in the book of history that has not been written. With each new step forward in research, we are getting closer to a greater truth about the human past. Once these big questions are answered, we will have a better understanding of ourselves and of the civilizations that existed and then disappeared into the ocean. Yonaguni is not an ending. It is a beginning. Chapter 13. Yonaguni and Mysterious Legends. Is this structure really related to aliens? Mysterious legends about Yonaguni. When talking about Yonaguni, we cannot help but mention the mysterious legends that have been woven around the structure. Although science has put forward a number of hypotheses about the natural or artificial origin of the structures on the seabed, there is still a special attraction for mysterious stories, somewhat supernatural hypotheses. While some people find reasonable scientific explanations for Yonaguni, others believe that this structure is related to aliens. These hypotheses, although somewhat strange and vague, still continue to attract the attention of many people around the world. 1. The legend of the lost civilization. One of the most popular legends associated with Yonaguni is the story of an ancient civilization, an advanced civilization that was long forgotten. Believers of this theory claim that Yonaguni is the remains of a giant civilization that may have existed for thousands of years before being submerged by natural disasters. 1.1. Aliens and ancient civilizations. Some people believe that this ancient civilization was not the work of humans, but of aliens. These people argue that the rock structures at Yonaguni have features that cannot be explained by conventional science, such as perfectly symmetrical shapes, strange steps, and clear lines that could not have been created by nature. Some theories even suggest that these stone structures could be some kind of ancient space station, where aliens once visited or built an underwater base. Some stories even suggest that these aliens may have helped humans in the past, creating mysterious structures like Yonaguni. 2. Strange phenomena and unexplained signs. 2.1. Reports of paranormal phenomena. Along with the mysterious stories of ancient civilizations, some people also believe that Yonaguni is a place where supernatural phenomena occur. Divers and researchers have reported strange underwater lights, strange sensations, and even invisible phenomena when they dive near this area. Some believe that Yonaguni is a space portal, where a hole in space-time may exist. According to these people, the underwater stone structures could be traces of a cosmic civilization that visited Earth and left their mark on history. 2.2. Connection with extraterrestrial civilizations. The concept that Yonaguni could be related to aliens is not a new one. In fact, connections with aliens have been put forward in various theories related to strange monuments around the world, from the pyramids of Giza to Stonehenge. This theory suggests that ancient civilizations had contact with extraterrestrial beings. They may have come to Earth a long time ago, leaving behind architectural traces and using technology far beyond our time. Yonaguni may be just a small piece of the puzzle in the whole picture of what aliens have left behind. 3. Conclusion. The mystery has no end. So what is Yonaguni? An ancient structure built by humans or a product of nature? Or could it be a trace of an alien civilization that visited Earth long ago? The answer is still ahead, unsolved. However, one thing is certain. Yonaguni is not an easy mystery to solve. Every new study, every advanced technology, every discovery at the bottom of the sea contributes to clarifying the questions that have existed for so long. Yonaguni is not an ending, but an open story. Mysterious legends, alien hypotheses, along with modern science and technology, are all contributing to a wonderful story. Maybe, in the near future, we will have more precise answers, or maybe, as many have said, Yonaguni will forever be a mystery that we can never fully explain. The end of the journey to explore Yonaguni. Thank you for joining me on this mysterious journey. While the story may not be over, the exploration of Yonaguni has provided profound thoughts about history, unsolved mysteries, and the wonders we still don't fully understand.